Class is in session. College basketball hitting the book show Tuesday, February 17th. Ian Cameron and Connor Mack with you, ready to break down the Tuesday college basketball slate. It's actually not a huge slate. I don't know. Tuesday, it feels like there's a few more games than this, but there's a lot of interesting games, obviously. We're not going to do a starting five today because, again, I don't know if there's 5 games that are huge, massive, monster games on the slate. There's 2 that we're going to talk about. Obviously, we'll save them. Actually, we'll do them off the top. And then we'll get into the bets and the other games that both C-Mac and I like. Good to have Connor Mack back. He will be with us in a moment here. He had an appointment yesterday. But all right, let's get into it. We're going to talk about 2 games off the top. 2 games that are just, they're big enough. They're big games. You got to talk about them. And the first one is obviously Michigan and Purdue. Top 10 matchup in the Big Ten. We've got Michigan, 2.5-point road favorites at Mackey Arena, 156.5, 157 being the total in this game. Early money came on Purdue, 2.5, 2, 1.5. And since then, we've kind of seen it go back the other way. Michigan back up to 2.5, 3 in this game. I know Purdue's not an easy place to win. And it's not a strong opinion, but I just feel Michigan's better. I think they're better team. They're better coached. And that's no disrespect to Painter. Painter's done a nice job, but what Dusty May has done is as good as any coaching job in America in college basketball this year. Obviously, you're talking about a slight road favorite here at Purdue, but Purdue's going to have a lot working for them here. As far as I'm concerned, they rely on making threes. Michigan is unbelievably good as far as defending the perimeter and the three-point shot. So if the threes aren't falling, where's Purdue turn? Offensively in this game, and Michigan is just very much a very well-rounded group. They're coming off an impressive 30-point blowout win against UCLA over the weekend. I mean, it's what I like about this team is that it's not just one player that you have to key in on. You've got Morez Johnson to worry about, Elliot Cadeau to worry about, Yaxel Lendeborg. I mean, it's just one player after another that can be a difference maker for this Michigan team. So I just don't know if Purdue, has got the ability to combat that. I think Michigan's got a little advantage, too, in the paint area that Purdue might have some issues with. Now, Purdue has won 4 in a row, and they've done it against, 3 of those teams aren't that great. Maryland, Oregon's had a rough year. Iowa's up and down. Nebraska's the one pretty quality win, but they kind of caught Nebraska with Nebraska starting to slump a little bit after that undefeated start. They're going to have to be making threes. It's that simple. And the problem is you don't always consistently make 3-point shots against this Michigan team. The 3-point percentage is awesome for Purdue, but it's just even better with Michigan allowing just 29.1% from 3-point range. So, it is one of those home spots, right? Home spots, big effort from Purdue. Obviously there's going to be some people attracted to taking the home dog here. But I kind of lean the other way. It's not a strong bet. It's a very, very small bet on the card for me, but we got to talk about this game. It would be Michigan for me. C-Mac, did you get involved here? This and this is a Big Ten showdown, C-Mac. And where is it on? Where can we find it? Oh, yeah, Peacock. Peacock streaming for this Michigan and Purdue. Yeah, Peacock can suck my cock. That's pretty much what I feel about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got a Peacock non-fan over here.
Not
impressed.
In a game like that, of that magnitude, and people got to flock to Peacock to find it. Not good. That shouldn't be.
I know. Well, it's all fucked now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been like this for years. I talk about it, makes me go crazy because I don't want fucking Paramount and all this bullshit. But that's how I've had to get the NCAA tournament. For the most part, just be at the book, which I love. But at the house, I had, and then because you got to get that because I'm not regularly having those channels. It's all True TV and all this stuff, and everything's just fucked. And you got to be selective on these ones you want, because if not, they just add all up. Next thing you know, I'll be living under a fucking bridge. Yeah. If I have every goddamn app, every fucking fee paid for all those. So yeah, it's just a total.
I always say
shit
you
show.
compass in a road map now to find what game you want to watch on TV. That's just the way it is now.
I know. This game I think is going to be good. I don't have a bet on it too here. I think Michigan is the better team all around, but I think Purdue could give them everything, they can here, especially if they shoot it well from deep. Smith, these guys have big games. I was talking about it earlier. The Kaufman right on Saturday, he's just been dealing with an injury. I think he hasn't been the same guy as last year. Yeah. And I forget, he had a decent game, didn't he? But nothing crazy on Saturday.
Yeah, I would say it was a solid game. I wouldn't call it a great game.
12 and 12.
Kaufman ran 12 points. He did have a double-double, 12 rebounds.
Double, yeah. They need him to be bigger. I think he's just somewhat injured a little bit still. But Lawyer, all these guys have to come up. Michigan, after kind of the, a high-scoring, close first half, just blow out UCLA and easily cover that huge number there. So it's tough. And when you go through, like, all the numbers when we go through these two teams, it's like the stat, like the rebounding, these teams are top 15 when you look at a ton of these categories. So, like, I guess I'd go with Purdue here at home, catching the bucket and a half. It's not enough for me to bet. Maybe bet it live. Michigan goes up on them. You could get a big number with Purdue. If they're down first half, you think they could come back, something like that. So I lean Purdue. Maybe.
Yeah, there's a case to be made for Purdue. It's not easy to go into Purdue and win. It's a good home court. But the thing is with Michigan, that what put me just slightly toward Michigan, and it's not a strong opinion. I just want to make that crystal clear. But, they played well against Purdue the last couple times. You look at the fact that Michigan is 8-0 on the road. They've been able to go away from, a home and be able to beat good teams on the road. Like the Michigan State game is a perfect example. Went on the road and beat the Spartans and beat them soundly because Michigan pretty much led that game start to finish. So they're kind of like that, that team that's – now we did say – I've basically said the same thing about Houston, right? That they can go on the road and beat anybody. And sure enough, we see Houston last night lose on the road against Iowa State. So, yeah, it is possible Purdue can win this game. But, again, I think there's a lot that's going to have to go right for Purdue in order to –
do you think Michigan's got a ton of impressive road wins?
Michigan
State?
To that. Right. Yeah, there's some truth to that. Like in the Big Ten, Michigan State's a very good road win. Very, very good road win. But you're right, outside of that, if you look at the non-con, though, you played San Diego State. You played Auburn. You had a couple. Auburn's been disappointing, though. Gonzaga, that was a neutral court win as well. They've just done very well away from home. But Purdue will be a test. I just think they'll find a way. We'll see, though. It's a great game. Great game. Looking forward to seeing. What about the total? Anything you lean there? Over, under?
No. I think there could be points, and this gets to like kind of a back and forth over. But I think I lean under, just from the number and how good the defenses can play.
Big Ten unders since January 1st that are for totals higher than 155. Big Ten unders are 16-4 for total.
Yeah, I believe it. Even in this conference with the top teams, man, like you don't really take them. They get near that number 160, even. And some of these teams that can play quicker. We'll get, Wisconsin's one we have later. That's a big number, that's been shooting like crazy. I think that's around 157 that game.
Yeah,
that total. So yeah, another one there, in that type number like this.
All right, the other game I chose to spotlight as far as a bigger game, North Carolina and NC State. We've got NC State 8-point favorites, 155 the total here in this game. I really like North Carolina against Pitt on Saturday. It was a great spot with them coming off it was a perfect spot, right? They beat Duke. They had the letdown against Miami, and then at home against Pittsburgh, a bad Pitt team. I said they're going to roll them, and that's exactly what happened. North Carolina won by double digits, led wire to wire against Pitt. But unfortunately, coming out of that game were some key injuries for North Carolina. They got bit quite a bit. They're already without James Brown and, of course, Caleb Wilson, I should say. Caleb Wilson shut down for quite a while with the left wrist fracture. He's going to be out indefinitely. And now to make matters worse, Vesar for North Carolina, dealing with an undisclosed injury and probably out tonight for North Carolina. So a little bit banged up, a little bit depleted. North Carolina going into this game against an NC State team that, holy shit, did they friggin' piss me off on Saturday. I took them on a bounce. They got annihilated by Louisville. I thought back home against Miami, good bounce back spot. And I don't think they were going to cover necessarily, but they were at least in position to win the game. And you talk about a meltdown and a collapse for NC State last minute. It was awful. And Will Wade just went off in the post game about his team blowing that game against Miami. So you got to think it's a big, step up redemption spot here for NC State. And I don't argue that. And North Carolina's banged up. It feels like it's an NC State spot all the way. But my only concern is, C-Mac, and I'll get your thoughts on this, no bargain. 8.5? Doesn't seem
it's
like
moved further.
North Carolina's still a pretty good team. I get it. They're banged up. NC State's going to be pissed about blowing that game against Miami, but I don't think you're getting a bargain on the Wolfpack here. What say you?
Oh, hell no. I know the injuries, but still, this is college basketball. And it's how much to take into these injuries, which so much of people we work with and our colleagues, I hear so much in the college basketball, it kind of is nothing, a little bit. Or, these next kids will just step up. Or more people take it as a bigger deal, especially when, they're top scorers, out in a game, and even the guys that do the small things when you look at everything else. So, I don't know. I think it's a little bit in between. I don't know how to put it, you know what I mean, with guys out. So the number's just big at the spot here. This is just a big rivalry. North Carolina State. Usually NC State plays better, of course, at home. But this is one I couldn't touch. Not now at 8.5. It seems like a good spot for them. They shoot the three a ton. I've talked about it. NC State, they hit them at a high rate. They're going to have to do that here. Maybe the first half in this game after the back-to-back losses. And they got drilled against Louisville, the loss where you talked about Miami. Just got smoked.
And plus, I think Miami's not as good as their record, and I thought great spot for NC State, and then to just absolutely collapse there late in that game. Just they did everything wrong. They missed free throws. You let them get a couple big baskets.
Yeah, sloppy.
Fouled on a shot, too. And one. Get away from the guy. If you got a lead in the final minute, get away from the guy when he's shooting the ball. And don't commit a foul. Don't give them an and one. That's basketball 101. I don't know. There's times with Will Wade, I think, you know what? He's a great recruiter. He's great on the mic. Some of these, coaching him up sometimes, though, there's just some fundamental.
He's berserk. Like, he's a college basketball coach that's like, some of these guys, like, wow. At least passion. Yeah, he is, for sure.
Some spaz out moments. And that was another one he had after the loss against Miami there on Saturday, which is a horrible loss. All right. I'll throw out some bets that I like. Then we'll turn it over to C-Mac. We'll see what he's on for this card. Let's see what we got here. I like Xavier. Xavier's turning a corner. I like what I'm seeing out of Richard Pitino. The problem is Villanova's rolling. I get that. There's no doubt it's not easy to fade this Villanova squad right now with what we've seen from them as of late. What are they? 5-0 straight up. They're on a 6-1 ATS run in their last 7 games. But Xavier, they gave St. John's everything they could handle. They had a nice home win against Marquette. Offense has been good. The defense is still a little suspect, but Xavier's actually won two years in a row here at Cintas against this Villanova team. So, the fact they're getting 4.5, 5 as a home dog, I like it. I split it with the team total as well, 73.5 for Xavier. I think they can get over that on their home court. So 4.5 plus the points, 73.5 team total over split for me there for Xavier against Villanova. What else have we got? I almost made this part of the starting first segment of the show because it is a big game. It's the one remaining undefeated team in college basketball, Miami, Ohio. Going to Amherst, taking on UMass. UMass covered against, Akron on Friday night. And I remember I thought they could get inside that number, and they did. But now they're in a position where what are they getting here? 2.5, 3? They got to pretty much win the game, to cover the number. I don't know if I can get there with UMass. I think it'll be competitive. I don't think they'll make it easy on Miami O, and they gave Miami O a tough game in Miami, Ohio earlier this season. So, and UMass going to do it with offense, and that's really the only thing they do well is score. They don't defend at UMass. They're a terrible defensive team, and the problem is Miami O is as good as it gets offensively. What's Miami O put up their last 2 games? 90 points in back-to-back? So I think the over is actually, it's crazy to say it, I think at 161.5, it's still too low in this Miami Ohio UMass game. They're both going to push pace. Both teams are better offensively than defensively, especially UMass. So I think that's another high-scoring affair there with Miami and UMass in that game. So I like that total
Get over.
a little bit in that one. What else have we got here? Let me see. We mentioned Akron just now. This is an ugly dog, Western Michigan, 14.5. But all of a sudden, don't look now. Akron's failed to cover a few in a row now. That Akron's failed.
I'm on it. I'm on Western Michigan. I'm on it. Ugly dog.
Yeah, we're not asking Western Michigan to give them a real tough game. We're just asking 14.5 points. Be somewhat competitive and what could be a bit of a down spot here for Akron, coming off a Friday night nationally televised game against UMass on Friday. That's all we're saying. That we just is this a spot where it's going to be balls to the wall, 40 minutes of perfect execution and focus for Akron? I'm not so sure. So just because of that, yeah, give me Western Michigan here, getting that many points in that one. Here's one. Frustrated me going against Miami on Saturday with NC State, who disappointed me. I'm going to take my chances going against Miami again tonight. Give me Virginia Tech. They're getting 8.5, 9. Do you know the Virginia Tech, CMAC? How about 7-0 against the spread on the road this year? Been a great road team.
Oh, I know.
Fantastic covering these kind of numbers. And after that epic comeback, Miami collapsed NC State. I think you can say it both ways. Coming off that heroic, miracle victory against NC State. Now you're back home and you're laying a big number. I think Virginia Tech's right in this game. I wouldn't even be shocked if Virginia Tech wins, but 8.5, 9. A potential letdown spot for Miami after the big comeback. Shocking comeback against NC State. And Virginia Tech's just been one of these teams on the road that just hang tough. They hang in there, and they've played better basketball on the road than they have in Blacksburg, for the majority of the season. So, yeah, I like Virginia Tech. They're getting those points. I think George Washington is a dog that kind of appeals to me because VCU's just not been a consistent home favorite this year. Against the spread, they've been very, very shaky, very flighty against the number. I think George Washington might be able to hang in that number there. What else have we got? Georgia, Kentucky, I think, is an over. I mean, I know it's in the 160s, but this reminds me of Kentucky, Oklahoma. This was a game we talked about on this show last week or 2 weeks ago. It was Kentucky, Oklahoma, and we both kind of thought, wait a minute, this is probably going to go over, and it flew way over the total. Kentucky can score at will against bottom-tier SEC defenses at Rupp. And guess what? Georgia is a bottom-tier SEC defense. So Kentucky should be able to do what they want. Georgia's not a bad offensive team. That's the one thing they can do is they can make some shots. And both teams are going to play a fast pace. So I think over with Georgia, Kentucky, makes some sense there in that game. I'm going to do it, CMAC, after they fired Jerome Tang. It's just situational handicapping 101. It works in the NHL. It works in the NBA. I'm not so sure it always works as well in college basketball. But first game after the coach gets fired, I'm going to take a shot with K-State for tonight. 4.5 home dogs in the Little Apple against Baylor. It's not like Baylor. Is Baylor even good enough to be trustworthy as a 4.5-point road favorite? We'll see. I mean, I think the players, for the most part, I think Tang was a player's coach because you remember when they made the tournament a few years ago, he's dancing in the locker room. Players loved him. But I think that relationship came to a fucking screeching halt when he said what he said about a week ago before he got fired, saying you got to take their names off the jerseys. I think that probably, whatever good feelings and good relationship there was with Tang and the players, it probably ended right there with what he said there. I don't think the players would have appreciated it that much. But so maybe a coach bump tonight. Yep, I agree with what my guy Tim in the chat is saying, that I think for one night, we'll give it a try. Kansas State here, plus 4.5 against Baylor. They show up and play hard. First game after Tang gets dismissed as head coach. And a couple more. Texas team total over. Rather than lay the 10.5 with Texas, I decided to go team total over because I think LSU is a dead team walking, and they got a ton of injuries too.
Yeah, that's what I would take. Yeah, in that game. Yeah,
Texas should score. I mean, 80.5. I think they get over that team total there in that game. My over of the night is actually in the Mountain West. Give me Air Force, New Mexico over. You see these Air Force games, they're like 9-1 to the over in their last. They can't stop anything. They couldn't stop me and CMAC from driving to the rim right now, this Air Force team. They are that bad defensively, and their games are just flying over the total with room to spare, and they can't adjust these numbers high enough, quickly enough. That's why they've been going over. All these Air Force games have been in the 130s and 140s, and they're just too damn low because they're giving up 80, 90 in every game. And Air Force is at least getting into the 60s, and there's your overs, cashing repeatedly. And we know New Mexico, 4 straight New Mexico games have gone over the total at home at the pit. And I think all of them have gotten into the 150s. So to be able to get 148.5, and I got in overnight, it was 146.5. So it's really moved up this total, but I 100% agree with it. Air Force is a dead nuts over team right now. They cannot stop anybody on the defensive end of the court. So
88.5. I think they're going to score 90. It could be close, though.
Yeah, you could isolate the New Mexico team total.
It could be tight. It seems like even like Fresno State, a team that's got a few guys out. That's why this number is huge. We get touch on that game, Wyoming. That they put 93 up, right?
They did. That one's tougher though, because Fresno wants to play fast and Wyoming really wants to grind it down into the half court. That's a real type of style battle, pace war, if you will, with that game. And then just at the end of the night, I'm tempted by Grand Canyon, but Grand Canyon's not playing great at the moment, and it's a revenge spot for San Diego State because the Aztecs lost at Grand Canyon earlier this season, and I don't know. The Aztecs are playing some pretty good basketball for Brian Dutcher right now. They're starting to really play well. It's a revenge spot. So I kind of talked myself out of Grand Canyon plus 8.5, but, I did initially lean that way. I did take a small shot with San Jose State plus the points against Nevada. It's just I'll dare Nevada to be a double-digit road favorite and cover no matter who they're playing. That's really the gist of that. Small over bet with Oregon, Minnesota, because with Nate Biddle back, suddenly the Oregon games are trending over the total with the big man back on the court who's a great offensive player. So I think Minnesota, Oregon, and might be a over there. And then Texas Tech, Arizona State. Look, handicapping 101 says you bet Arizona State here. Texas Tech's off the big overtime win at Arizona. Did
we get over, though?
Huh?
Did we get over this total?
I lean that way. I do.
ASU and over.
It's going to be flat coming off the Arizona win. It probably shows up more on the defensive end that they're a little bit flat. Arizona State doesn't stop anybody defensively. That much we know. So the over could get there, 153.5. What I would do is if you like Arizona State and you buy into the situational letdown spot for Texas Tech after the game against Arizona, then take Texas Tech first half maybe, or Arizona State rather first half. Just in case Texas Tech, because Texas Tech is the much better team. Quite frankly, they got the much better coach too. I mean, Grant McCaslin can coach rings around Bobby Hurley right now, but nevertheless, it is a dubious spot here for Texas Tech. All right, C-Mac, what stands out to you? What are you liking here on this Tuesday card?
Yeah, there's a bunch. That's this game late. I just haven't put it in yet, but Arizona State, and I'm looking at the over in that game. Texas Tech off a bunch of unders, too. I think they get back. One thing with Arizona State, I don't love their defense. I just think that game can slip over. You talk about, here's another over. I think when I went through everything, it's dropped low enough, and 148 over Virginia Tech, Miami. Not only you talked about Virginia Tech, how you like them, how good they've been on the road with the points, and after just getting their ass kicked, I mean, just a horrible loss. Defense still not great. I don't know if the defense plays a little bit better, but I thought at 148, give me the over in that game at Virginia Tech covers. This is the game someone already mentioned. Shout out to the chat. NJ Stryker, my dude. He was on Duke, smash spot. Duke, huge second half. Just drilled them. They were good in the first half too, but we'll touch it. There he is right there. Ricky Bobby, everyone in the Chucktown. Everyone up in here, we appreciate it. We'll hit you at the Nicholas Handy, my dude. Great to see you up and in here. PlayStation, everybody.
Appreciate everybody in here. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. And Matt Robinson, holy fuck! I just saw him in here now. Matt Robinson, Matt Rob 19. That is a guy. I don't know if you're familiar with him, C-Mac. I don't know if you've been
I saw him on your show.
Yeah,
nice guys.
I think you were on one of the
betcasts too, maybe.
Yeah, he's on our the Ice Guys show with Alex and I usually twice a week during.
He's here because there's not a whole lot going on here. I'm sure he's betting the Olympics, right? But but yeah, a little college basketball action. I love it. It's a true gambler here. Okay, let's hit on the Iowa game.
Matty Rob, hope all is well.
This is great. I just haven't touched. We talked about it's just on him all year long. I haven't gone against him. I stayed off Iowa on Saturday. Man, I'm going to take him here. First half. I don't know if they can win full game. It's a pick 'em is what I got. I think they shoot the ball here at home a lot better off back-to-back losses. Nebraska, to me, I'm a little surprised with this total has moved up. That shows I think I was going to shoot it better because they're a slower team that's an under team, even though their numbers they've gone a little bit more over. They've been so low, the totals have dropped. But Nebraska, we talked about their defense all year, how they've been a great team and an under team. So, but the totals moved up a little bit. But I think first half at home after a horrible loss, they shot 27% from three, get their best effort. I just need them to be up one at halftime. So I'm going to take them here against big bad Nebraska. I basically haven't. This is the first time I'm betting against them. After being on them, I've waited all this time. I haven't gone against them. I'm going against them here. Iowa first half. There just to pick a money line. Here's an under that I like. This game could get over. Their first matchup, I want to pull up here, had a bunch of points. I think it was 96-93. That's Kent State Bowling Green in this game. It's a little shock. Bowling Green's been played this well, and now they're favorites 2.5, 3. This was 3s. There's 2.5s now. But I think if you like them, you gotta like an under or a little bit. The game's tight, and if you like Kent State, maybe this game goes over. They want to push their pace and kind of get this up and over. But Bowling Green, 7-16 to the under. I think they need to play their style here after that first game. That when was that? January 6th, I believe.
Yeah,
96-93.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, Bowling Green too covered. It was 3.5-point dogs. So just is basically flipped here a little bit. But I like the under 151.5. We got to see it make these teams score that many points. Talked about it, and when I match up these two, everything points to it. So I got to be on it there. Anything else? UCLA, give me their team total under here. I just don't trust this offense. Michigan State's got to be better. Not only the defense looked horrible, in that game, but Wisconsin just shot the ball lights out. I don't think UCLA has the shooters to do that. It's just be red hot. So I don't think they can get to 66 full game. UCLA team total under 65.5 there. Michigan State 8.5-point favorites too. It's a pretty big number. I think they have stretches like this the last few years, Babano, where they've lost 3 or 4. It's kind of happened again. They were playing really, really well to start the year, and they've hit a little mark. I think this is a big, big game. UCLA after a bad second half. This is not good. Michigan on the road, then Michigan State. I think it could be a rough night for the Bruins, but I'll take them just their team total under there. We hit Virginia Tech in that game. You know what I'm liking here is SMU. We stayed up. They lost to Syracuse by a point on Saturday. I don't know if this is enough. Louisville, it's just been, I don't know, a little bit Jekyll and Hyde on the road. I know they've been a little bit better.
That's true.
Brown's been back.
Yep.
But I think SMU, this game comes down kind of to the wire a little bit. I'm looking at them +4. You talked about a game I haven't bet, and this one is the Fresno State. They still have that one guy. I think he's one of their better scorers, average 17. What's his name? Heidenbreier, I believe.
Yep.
I don't think he plays. He didn't play against Air Force. Didn't matter in that game. I think that's why
Air Force
this line
doesn't stop anybody, so of course it's not.
Well, I know, but I think that's why this line stretched out even more, like a couple extra points. This would have been a 7-7 with Wyoming at home.
Heidenbreier, yeah, questionable.
Yeah, Heidenbreier. There you go. But one of their better scorers inside and outside. So Wyoming off 3 straight losses. This is when you want to back them is at home. It covered against Utah State. It's tough. I think Fresno could be in the game. It's just Wyoming at home is such a backable spot. Book's lining this, I think, right, wanting action. You got to pay the cost here if you want Wyoming where they play better at home in conference.
Great. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or if you think this is enough, you bite back with Fresno. That could be gritty and keep into it. First matchup, too, 63-60. Yep. So, we got another under here. I kind of lean under in this game. It's just been both from these two. Fresno wants to push a little bit, but we've seen unders like their first matchup in games in the 60s, and we've seen other games, of course, where they play UNLV and some other teams where they just go way over. Games are in the 80s, so. But I lean under.
Better average is almost 18 points per game.
Yeah,
so
he's
a lot of production that's out if he doesn't play. Correct.
I think he went to Air Force. I know he went to Clemson, and last year didn't play much. But I think he's talking a lot of Air Force, a lot of Air Force talk today. Yeah, I think Kentucky. You talked about a couple team totals. The Texas team total. I think Kentucky, their team total, could get there. Yeah, what do you think of Kansas State? Coach gone. Man, you did you say you were on them +4?
I'm on Kansas State. I'm buying. I'm doing the old coach angle.
Coach angle
in the NHL and the NBA than it is for college basketball, but I'm still going to do it for one night here in this game.
Man, I can't do it.
Yeah. So maybe one night they have a good effort here. We'll see.
I can't touch them. I can't touch either of these two teams. I don't want my money on either of them. I think that's about it. That's a fair point. Anybody got questions? Hit it right now.
If anyone has questions,
whoever holds your peace.
Is there any game we didn't talk about? I guess we didn't talk about Boston.
South Carolina?
State. Yeah, I guess I would mean Boston College there. It's kind of a flat spot for Florida, but do you want to bet against Florida right now? They've just been amazing. And South Carolina's horrendous. But that's what you're banking on. Like, if you're going to bet South Carolina, you're banking on Florida not being focused, not being great. So that's a tough one.
It's a huge number. What do you think about TCU? UCF has guys out right here. Questionable.
If we're betting current form, I could only back TCU right there.
Yeah, it's flipped right their way.
They're definitely better than UCF right now. UCF scuffling, going the other way, and I see TCU getting better. TCU's making the money too. That's so. Yeah,
I think that game could get over.
I almost did.
Yeah, higher total. I think that game. I was looking at that total, the over a little bit. Yeah, with Florida State, that's a big line. I just don't want them at now favorites like that. Yep. Even against a bad BC team that struggles. They've struggled on the road, but they can cover, and stay with it. And we know that about them every once in a while, especially after kind of getting their ass kicked. I believe on Saturday, right?
Ohio gave it a pretty tough effort coming off. They played Miami Friday night, ESPN game. They hung in there. Obviously, Miami pulled away late, but it was a pretty decent effort overall for Ohio. They did the best they could. I think it's going to be tough for them to lay 9.5 tonight coming off that game against Ball State. So I did bet Ball State. Ball State's one of my on my card tonight, plus 9.5 against Ohio.
What do you think? You think St. Louis just keeps rolling here? This has come down a little bit. I thought it was tempting.
I either bet on him or I
bet on him.
Just no interest.
Same thing with Miami, Ohio?
Yeah, at 2.5, I'd need more points to back Frank Martin and UMass in that game.
Yeah, there's a few of those. There was a couple like that to me. I forget the other one. Like Ohio State. Yeah. Like, they need this game. Wisconsin just playing I'm not going to put my money on them here. They play better at home. They need a big game. It's just they got to win the game now. That, to me, there just wasn't enough in that one. SEMO, UT Martin, you have anything there? I forget who I just asked that.
Oh, SEMO, UT.
Daryl Turner, our guy.
Worth talking about here. These last couple games for UT Martin, they've just started playing fast. I've noticed that the last couple of games. Possession numbers just went up significantly.
Yeah, over
their last two games against Lindenwood. Now, Lindenwood does play above average, but Edwardsville's not an overly fast team, and yet that game had a ton of possessions. It flew over the total, so I think an over is worth a look there. It's only 140. SEMO and UT Martin, I think that could get over the total. I did bet some over in that game. I'm just looking at my account now. Yeah, I did bet some over there, SEMO and UTM.
That one's tough for me. I think that's on the total. I think it could really go either way with these two teams. You talked about Tennessee Martin finally have gone over a little bit in their pace, but I don't trust it. SEMO, if they get hot, that'll be your over, is them scoring well, I think, is SEMO. Them being probably in the 70s. So if you look that way, maybe it's them as well. Been pretty good on the road, not great, SEMO as well. And UT Martin's been great at home this year, 11-1. So here we go. Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan. Over. Anything there?
That one is one where Central Michigan with Bronkema, the coach there, has actually done a decent job. Uh, I like the higher. There's still room for improvement. Like they're not a contender in the MAC, but they're not a doormat anymore. The problem is that Central Michigan beat Eastern Michigan and really badly. It was like by 30 points in the
Yeah.
first meeting. Sometimes when it's in-state rival, and now Eastern Michigan's got him again, this time at home. Sometimes it's like, whoa, and they lost by 30 to Central Michigan the first meeting, and now they're laying 4.5, 5. Well, maybe they're laying that for a reason, right?
I know. I
That's
mean,
kind of what I'm thinking there. I kind of lean with the favorite there, Eastern Michigan.
that's what's to stay off because I think Central's playing better
I
of
do
late,
too.
but it's just
I don't disagree with that.
kind of a rivalry type game that's really, really tough. Yeah. Nevada, San Jose State. What do you think here? San Jose State
I think I
covered.
mentioned it, Daryl,
Did
earlier, but
you?
I'll repeat it. I'm on San Jose State. Not a big bet, but I'm on San Jose. Like Nevada's. Anytime I see freaking numbnuts there, Steve Alford as a double-digit road favorite, I'm interested going against it. It's really that simple.
Oracle, Michigan, Texas Tech money line for our guy Gorky.
Michigan, I honestly
Texas
don't have any
Tech
major
money.
disagreement with that. I don't love the spot for Texas Tech, but certainly
They just got to win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that game. It's come down a little bit. It is a bit of a flat spot, but they're just the flat better team. I think it could get over. It's a team that I look at their team total. I've been on a bunch of these. With San Diego State, the defense has shown at home. Nevada's at 57, Wyoming 63, Colorado State 50 and this team struggles to score. It's Grand Canyon. You touched on that game. It's a little bit how that tight one, Grand Canyon won 70-69. I think they have trouble there. I look at their team total under. I think it's right around 65.5 for Grand Canyon. San Diego State gets revenge, wins at home. Probably covers that number, but it's out there at 8 now.
Yeah. By the way, that San Jose State, I mentioned taking them plus 11.5 at home against Nevada. San Jose State's actually covered 3 of the last 4. All of them as double-digit dogs. They didn't cover at home against Grand Canyon, but not by much. I mean, they lost by 15. They were 11.5-point dogs. So they've been a little bit more competitive lately, San Jose State. Yeah, Daryl, good question. We should reiterate that before we wrap up and do best
10 membership.
With taxes. I think it's 7 with the base amount, and then there's a little extra.
Yeah.
Taxes.
And we couldn't tier it as 1. You had to tier it as 2. So the other one is basically you get Wednesday's show if you do the $5, the first one. So and the other memberships both shows Wednesdays and Fridays, which would be the second one. So I couldn't tier it just as 1. So that's it for the membership. But we appreciate you, my dude, is in here always supporting us. And become a member if you can. Gerald Turner, as always.
If you remember, we're on this show today is open for everybody, available to everybody today and Monday. But Wednesday and Friday, we're members only. So tomorrow we'll be on, but only for Hitting the Books YouTube channel members at this time, 5 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, and the same thing on Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And the Friday show, it's a great perk to being a member because the Friday show, not only do we do the Friday card, we're going to give you a weekend preview. We're going to look at Saturday games, college basketball.
And now, more in depth a little bit with those games. We'll get even a graphic going. We could do, right around 9 or 10. I know, and it's mostly the big games because they don't have the smaller games out yet. They've had a lot of, you know what I mean? It's just we know the bigger games on Saturday, the lines, at least temporary, what they have out, on a Friday afternoon. So, be there for the Fridays. Gotta love it. Plus, it's Friday. Who doesn't fucking love Friday?
Right. Exactly.
Shit. Gotta love it. Right.
It's a great way to start we do it. It's like happy hour for Friday. It gets your weekend started in the right way. No question about the Ice Guys for the NHL version. The live NHL version of the Ice Guys is back next Wednesday when the NHL resumes. So that's Wednesday, February 25th.
I'm loving the Olympic, but I already want the NHL.
Yeah, I miss it. That being said, I will enjoy the next few days because now we're getting to the good stuff, right? Quarterfinals. We're going to have 2 good games tomorrow. Canada, Czechia, USA, Sweden. USA, Sweden's a hell of a game.
Yeah, that should be good.
The quarterfinals. And the tough one, a really damn good team is going to get knocked out and not win a medal. Whoever loses that game in the quarters tomorrow, USA and Sweden. So like I said, that definitely is going to be unfortunate. But yeah, the Ice Guys NHL version, live version, will be back next Wednesday. Good stuff. Shout out to everybody. Too many people to name, but we thank you all for your support. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. All right, best bets. C-Mac, we'll start with you. What do you got for best bet?
Yeah, I was going to go with this under in Kent State, but I'm going with this one because it's one of my first bets. Iowa, first half, money line, -110. Come on, Iowa. Give it to me. First half, -110, best bet. Iowa.
All right, good stuff. Well, they can't stop a nosebleed on the defensive end of the basketball court, and that has resulted in a 9-1 overrun in their last 10 games for the Air Force Falcons. Give me Air Force, New Mexico, over 148. All right, Air Force, New Mexico, over 148. Ride this 9-1 overrun in favor. You know, totals are where it's at. You know, if I stick to totals as best bets, that's where the wins are. Last night, you know, we went to a side. It was a terrible call. Yeah, I should have went with South Alabama Marshall over. That was my second choice. Flew over the total. So this is the one I like here. Good over. You know, I was on Air Force Fresno over on Saturday, and that was like 143. Whoosh, flew way over that number. They're just that bad defensively right now. So give me Air Force, and 4 straight games have gone over for New Mexico at the pit. 4 straight home games for them have gone over the total. So Air Force, New Mexico, over 148 for my best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Appreciate it very much. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. And like I said, members only tomorrow on Wednesday. So if you're not a member already, become one so that you can reserve your seat, if you will, to join us tomorrow on Wednesday for the members-only edition of the Hitting the Books show. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games, and good luck. And we will see you tomorrow on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, for a members-only edition of the Hitting the Books show. Until then, class dismissed.
Peace.